of our color theory techniques into practice. We have here an old photo that's been aged with time, and we want to restore it so it looks bright and vibrant, just like the first day it was taken. First, we have to figure out what's wrong with this photo. What colors are we seeing that are not looking quite realistic? And one way to do this is to look at something in the picture that should be white and ask ourselves, is this actually pure white, or is this altered with another color that is preventing it from being pure white? So I'm going to get out my eyedropper, because sometimes we can't trust our eye. We have to see the computer show us things that maybe we don't see instinctually. And I'm going to take a sample of something in this picture that should be white. Here we have a white cup here and a white shirt back there. The white cup is a little bit in shadow, so it's going to be gray. The inside of the white cup, though, looks like it might be right. I'm just clicking and taking a sample. And you'll notice over here in my color swatches, white is my background color, but the eyedropper tool gave me a yellowish, sort of a pinkish color when I took a sample of this white cup. That's letting me know that the whites in this picture are not pure white, but they've been mixed in with some other colors. Here there's a tent back here. We can take a sample of that, and we can see that it's not actually pure white, even though our eye is maybe being tricked into thinking it is. So that lets us know that there are too many yellow and pinkish colors in the highlights. Now let's look at something in the picture that should be black, something that should be like a pure black shadow. And so I'm looking, this guy looks like he has like black pants on, and I'll try and take a sample of like the darkest shadow. This guy back here has like this leather jacket. I'll take the darkest sample of that leather jacket there. And we see when we take a sample, even though our eye has been tricked into thinking that this is pure black, it's actually not. It's a reddish color. So that lets us know that there's too many reds in the shadows. So that's going to give us a place to get started. Now I'm going to go down to my adjustment layers at the bottom of Photoshop, and this is the little icon that looks like a yin-yang symbol. It's light on one side, dark on the other side. I'm going to click on that, and then I'm going to bring up the color balance adjustment layer. I'm going to click on that, and now right now I'm working in the midtones, but remember we were looking at the highlights and the shadows, so that's often a really good place to start. So I'm going to go to my shadows, and remember our shadows are too red, so I'm going to drag my slider towards cyan until that excess redness goes away. And now it's looking pretty good. There might have been a little magenta in there, so I'll drag my slider towards green a little bit. That helps as well. And now those blacks are looking nice and crisp. Now I can go to the highlights, and remember our highlights, there's too much yellow in the highlights, so I'm going to drag my highlights away from yellow and towards blue until those whites become nice and crisp and white. Now I'm looking at the midtones, and we don't want to mess with the midtones too much in this picture because we don't want to distort the work that we've already done. I'm noticing this grass doesn't look quite as green as it should. I'll see if I can increase the green. But the thing is, as I increase the green, look, I'm kind of making the overall picture look a little bit too green. So we can add a little bit of red to the midtones just to kind of increase their skin tone a little bit. Now that's looking pretty good. Let's see the before and after. I'm going to click on the little eyeball tool that's right next to my color balance adjustment layer. See how red and magenta it was before, and see how yellow the highlights were? It was really, really washed out. Now with color balance, we really worked to make it look vivid, and it's looking almost like it was taken yesterday. Now there's a few more things that we can do to this to make it look that much better. And these extra steps might take you a few hours of work to really make look good. Now one step will be to maybe hand paint the sky up there. You can consider making a selection of the sky up here. We'll have to go back to the background. Using the magic wand tool. And then on a new layer, use a soft edge brush. Now see how obviously when we're just painting like this, that doesn't look good. So we put it on the color blending mode. There we go. We just get like a little bit of bluishness in the sky. Command D to deselect. Now we want to get a little bit of the white between the trees. Noticing it kind of made a rim there right on the trees. So you can use another selection technique such as the color range selector, or you can work to really carefully make selections inside the trees here and colorize them as such. Or you can just zoom in really close and see if you can hand color the trees. Now this is only going to work if you use the color blending mode. We want to see the sky through the trees, because if you use normal blending mode, it's going to look really, really fake. And you can see why this is going to take a little bit of time to do, because you want to make sure that you don't, paint the trees themselves too much. And I would reduce the opacity just so you have a tint of blue there in the trees, but it's not overpowering. You don't want it to look like it's been hand painted. Now another thing we might want to do, make a new layer. I'm going to choose the color blending mode again, is use a kind of a desaturated green color. Again, you're going to want to use a low opacity. And you can hand paint. Again, this is only going to work if you use the color blending mode. But you can hand paint the trees to make them look a little bit more green. See, that looks really fake. But if we reduce the opacity a whole lot and just have a little bit of green in there, it helps make those foreground trees look nice and vivid. And we can use the same technique for the grass. Using the color blending mode and using a very, very low opacity, you can add a little bit more of a green color to the grass there. Now we don't want our colors to bleed into the border around this picture. So either use the polygon lasso tool or your square marquee tool to make a selection, invert the selection by hitting Shift Command I, and erasing any areas that have been painted, especially for the blue. I'm just going to erase so that my margin will remain nice and white.